You see it, don't you? That silent tension, the games people play without even knowing. You carry a secret no one else notices. But what if this gift of clear sight is also your greatest danger? Stick around, because by the end, you'll understand why your secret changes everything, especially that one part nobody ever tells you. Have you ever walked into a room and sensed the whole atmosphere before anyone even spoke a word? You probably noticed the little dramas people get caught up in, the heavy seriousness they carry around, or the unseen games they play without realizing they're even playing. In those moments, you hold a secret because you simply see what others don't. While this unique way of seeing might feel like a special gift, and it truly is, it also comes with its own kind of danger. Someone who truly sees through the performance becomes an outsider to those still playing along, and that can often lead to a very lonely place. Think about it. The entire world we live in is mostly held together by shared agreements. We all collectively agree that paper money has real value, that clocks accurately measure something concrete, that imaginary lines define nations, and that jobs and titles genuinely matter. But here's the crucial point. These aren't ultimate truths. They are merely conveniences, shared stories, collective illusions we've all decided to believe in. So, what really happens when someone starts to see past this common belief? What if you suddenly realize money is just printed paper, time is a concept inside your head, and success is just a fancy costume we put on? The moment you awaken, you're no longer mesmerized by the same shared dream. This kind of awareness can feel threatening to others, not because you're wrong, but because you unintentionally mess with the game everyone else is playing. It's like you start to laugh gently while everyone else is still busy pretending it's all so serious. Imagine a group of kids totally absorbed in a board game, arguing passionately over rules, accusing each other, fighting desperately to win. Now, picture yourself, an adult, watching them. You know it's just cardboard pieces and plastic figures, so you simply smile at their intense seriousness. That's precisely how much of life looks once you truly begin to see. You realize so much of what people are battling over isn't any more real than those game pieces. But if you try to explain this to them, they likely won't thank you. They'll probably say you're spoiling the fun, and in a way, you would be. This is the genuine danger of seeing beyond what everyone else takes for granted. People who see differently are often misunderstood. They might be labeled as irresponsible, lazy, or even completely crazy. History is full of examples. Mystics who saw the deep unity in all things, philosophers who bravely questioned the established gods of society, and artists who painted visions nobody else could quite grasp. These individuals were often mocked or silenced, not because their insights lacked truth, but because truth itself can be incredibly uncomfortable. People tend to prefer their comfortable illusions, clinging to them tightly. When you bravely pull away the mask, they don't express gratitude. Often, they react with anger. This is why anyone who truly sees must learn to be cautious. Vision, especially deep vision, isn't always welcomed by those who prefer to remain blind. However, let's be absolutely clear. Seeing more deeply isn't a curse. It's a powerful liberation. You stop taking life's endless dramas so seriously. You free yourself from being dragged into trivial conflicts. You stop endlessly chasing shadows. You start to see that everything, the constant striving, the competing, the worrying, is like tiny ripples on the surface of an enormous, tranquil ocean. These ripples appear and then vanish. And beneath all that surface activity, there's something eternally still, something truly eternal. The real danger isn't in seeing itself, but in how you choose to carry that vision. If you let it make you bitter, mocking, or superior, you'll only isolate yourself even more. But if you carry it lightly, with gentleness and humor, it transforms into deep wisdom. To see is to engage with the game of life knowingly, with a quiet awareness. You don't suddenly stop playing. You still eat, work, love, and create, but you do it with a distinct twinkle in your eye. You no longer desperately cling to outcomes or treat every win as a matter of survival. You understand it's all a grand theatrical performance, and ironically, this understanding allows you to enjoy it far more deeply than those who still believe it's all real. The wisest individuals aren't those who abandon the game entirely, but those who can gracefully dance within it without getting trapped by its rules. The true master doesn't leave the stage. They master every role with elegance, always remembering it's just a play. Yet, there is a definite cost. To perceive what others cannot means carrying a certain kind of solitude. You can't always explain yourself effectively. If you reveal too much to people, they'll simply think you're odd. If you remain silent, you can feel profoundly alone. This explains why, throughout history, those who truly awakened often sought each other out. Poets found other poets, seekers recognized other seekers, and the awake instinctively found the awake. When two individuals who see eye to eye finally connect, there's an instant bond, a quiet smile, a shared understanding. Suddenly, you realize you're not entirely alone in the dream. Someone else also remembers it's a dream. But what if you can't find those kindred spirits? What then? Your task becomes carrying this unique vision alone. It means living fully in the world, but not entirely of it. Yes, you go to work, but you don't confuse your worth with your job title. You love deeply, but you don't mistake love for mere possession. You strive for success, but you don't let a trophy define your identity. You might still play every part that life demands, but you do so lightly, as if wearing a temporary costume. The danger here isn't merely that you see, but that you might become hardened, resentful, or arrogant. The truly wise person remains playful, gentle, and compassionate, even as they perceive things others cannot. Here lies a fascinating paradox. Those who see what others often miss are initially rejected, but often celebrated much later. The person once called mad becomes the prophet. The so-called heretic is later hailed as a saint. The ridiculed artist becomes recognized as the genius of a new age. Society naturally resists ideas it's not yet ready to accept, but later it often embraces those very same insights as profound wisdom. This means that what feels dangerous or misunderstood for you today could become your greatest gift tomorrow. But to reach that point, you must navigate the tricky in-between phase, and that absolutely demands humility. You are not superior to those who do not yet see. You are simply carrying a torch that shines too brightly for some eyes right now. So, how does one actually live with such an insightful vision? First, practice patience. Others will awaken in their own perfect time, not yours. Second, cultivate humility. You don't need to become a preacher, nor do you need to always be right. Thirdly, embrace playfulness. If life is fundamentally a dream, then laugh at it, dance with it, and enjoy the experience. Seeing deeply doesn't mean withdrawing from the world. It means enjoying it far more profoundly, because you no longer mistake the theatrical play for ultimate reality. The dangers of seeing what others don't are undeniably real, but so is the immense joy it brings. For when you see with crystal clarity, you are truly free, and that kind of freedom is always worth any cost. Imagine for a moment waking up within a dream. You look around and everyone else is taking the dream incredibly seriously, while you instantly know it's just a dream. You might try to tell them, but they simply laugh, thinking you're mad or spoiling their fun. Yet your own awareness changes nothing about the dream itself. It only changes you. The dream continues on, but now you perceive it completely differently. This is both the incredible gift and the sometimes heavy burden of clear perception. You simply cannot unknow what you have seen, and here lies a truly significant danger. Not that the world will reject you, but that you might become tempted to reject the world entirely. Once you see through its illusions, you might feel a pull to withdraw completely, to stand apart and declare yourself superior. This is the classic trap of the awakened seer, to become the cynic, the unyielding preacher, the one who stubbornly insists everyone else is blind. But that too is just another illusion. To truly see isn't about rising above, it's about sinking deeper into the boundless mystery. To know the play is merely a play doesn't mean you refuse to participate. It means you act with far more freedom and authenticity. Consider a dancer who knows she has only one more day to live. Wouldn't she dance more wildly, more beautifully, precisely because she knows it cannot last forever? That's how the awakened soul lives. You eat with more appreciation. You love with greater depth. You breathe more consciously because you no longer take any of it for granted. Seeing through illusions doesn't shrink life. It makes it infinitely richer. Still, others who remain asleep won't truly grasp your perspective. They'll wonder why you might laugh when they're crying or why you remain calm when they panic, and you won't always be able to explain it. You can only live your truth. There's a classic Taoist saying, "Those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know." Why? Because fundamental truth isn't something that can be neatly packaged into words. It is something to be lived. Those who start seeing what others don't often fall into the trap of over-explaining, trying desperately to awaken others through arguments, logic, or direct preaching. But the harder you try, the more resistance you'll encounter. Awakening cannot be simply handed over like a gift. It must spontaneously rise from within, like a seed breaking free from its shell. So the truly wise individual stops arguing and instead begins simply living. Their entire life becomes the teaching itself. The universe itself, you see, is inherently playful. It constantly hides from itself, disguises itself, even forgets itself, only to joyfully rediscover itself in an endless array of forms. You and I are fundamental parts of that cosmic play. And when you awaken, you realize you were never meant to rigidly control it. You were meant to playfully dance with it. But imagine trying to explain a vibrant dance to someone who stubbornly insists on sitting perfectly still, meticulously measuring each step and critically judging every movement. They will never truly understand until they finally stand up and move their own bodies. In the same way, those who do not see will never understand simply through words alone. They must eventually see for themselves. Or the true danger then is not in your perception itself, but in the potential for self-imposed isolation. When you see what others cannot, you might feel like an isolated island adrift in a vast sea of unconsciousness. You can't always openly share what you know or feel. But remember this crucial point: the ocean still completely surrounds you. You are not genuinely separate. You are simply playing a slightly different, unique note in the grand harmonious symphony of existence. And if you play that note beautifully, if you embody your unique vision with grace and lightness, then slowly, almost imperceptibly, others will begin to hear. Not because you force them to listen, but because truth carries its own innate music, and eventually that music cannot be ignored. This is why true mystics often laugh. They laugh not because life is trivial or unimportant, but because it is profoundly sacred, far beyond the confines of ordinary seriousness. The one who truly sees realizes that all the struggling, the striving, the endless pursuit, it's all like chasing your own shadow. You can never truly catch it. And yet, if you simply stop running, you miraculously discover it has been with you all along. To truly see is to stop running. It's to stand still, right here, right now, and finally realize that the treasure you've always sought in the future has been constantly present in this very moment. And that profound realization, my friend, makes you dangerous, not to yourself, but to the intricate illusions that society thrives upon. So, what exactly should you do if you find yourself seeing things differently than most people around you? First and foremost, do not be afraid. You are absolutely not alone, even if it feels that way sometimes. Countless individuals before you have courageously walked this very path. Second, do not rush to try and change others. Let them dream their own dreams. Let them play their own games. They will awaken precisely when they are ready, and not a moment sooner. Third, and most importantly, hold your vision lightly. Do not cling to it like a weapon or harden it into a rigid ideology. For the instant you do that, you are once again asleep, caught in the subtle illusion of being right. True seeing is always flexible, playfully open, and deeply compassionate. It never clings. Now, let me share with you a secret. The very danger of seeing is also its most incredible gift. For when you pierce through the masks, through the games, through all the pervasive illusions, you are left with the simplest yet most profound thing: pure presence. You stop anxiously rushing into tomorrow. You stop regretfully dwelling on yesterday. You are simply here, breathing, watching, truly alive. And in that deep stillness, you begin to notice things you completely missed before. The melodic sound of birds outside, the delicate texture of silence itself, the raw beauty in people's faces, even those lined with worry. Everything begins to shine with a renewed brilliance because your perception is no longer clouded by the belief that something else, somewhere else, matters more. But always, always beware. The ego is incredibly cunning. Even after you've awakened, it might slyly whisper to you, you are special, you are above them, you see what they don't. And the very moment you truly believe that, you are asleep again, trapped in a subtler, yet equally deceptive illusion, that of superiority. This is precisely why genuine sages never proclaim themselves as sages. They laugh at their own flaws. They stumble, they cry, they make mistakes, just like everyone else. And in doing so, they become more human, not less. To see clearly isn't about striving to become perfect. It's about courageously becoming whole. It's about embracing both the light and the shadow, both wisdom and foolishness, without any internal division. Let me give you one last image. Imagine a pristine mirror. The mirror simply reflects whatever stands before it, whether ugly or beautiful, joyful or sorrowful. It doesn't judge, it doesn't resist. It simply shows what is. That ultimately is the profound role of the one who truly sees, to be a mirror, reflecting life exactly as it is, without clinging to anything and without condemning anything. However, here lies a truly significant danger. Most people simply don't like mirrors. They much prefer their carefully constructed masks. When you reflect their own hidden shadows back to them, they might attempt to shatter you, not because you are wrong, but because they are not yet ready to bear seeing themselves so clearly. And so, you must learn to reflect gently. History is abundantly filled with such examples. Socrates drank poison because he dared to ask too many penetrating questions. Jesus was tragically crucified for revealing a kingdom not of this world. Mystics across every age were exiled, imprisoned, or silenced, not for telling lies, but for bravely speaking truths that others were simply not prepared to hear. So, if you are one who sees, tread softly, not with crippling fear, but with profound wisdom. The ultimate truth cannot be destroyed, but the messenger often can be. This is why the awakened often choose to cloak their profound vision in compelling stories, in relatable parables, and in genuine, liberating laughter. For truth slips past people's defenses far more easily when it's cleverly disguised as a captivating tale than when it's aggressively shouted as a harsh fact. So, what is the ultimate point of all this, you might ask? Why bother awakening at all if it only brings danger, isolation, and misunderstanding? The simple, beautiful answer is this: once you truly see, you cannot unsee. And because the profound joy of seeing far outweighs any burden it brings, to walk freely through life, to laugh deeply without any reason, to love without desperately clinging, that experience is absolutely worth every single misunderstanding you might encounter. And in good time, your quiet presence itself may become a deep inspiration for others. Not because you aggressively convince them, but because you gracefully embody a way of being that they simply cannot ignore. They may not intellectually understand why, but they will deeply feel it. Your genuine freedom will become beautifully contagious, and slowly, gently, the dreamers around you will begin to stir from their slumber. In the end, the danger of truly seeing what others don't is ultimately the very danger of being authentically alive. For to truly live is to risk misunderstanding, to risk rejection, and yes, even to risk death itself. But to stubbornly refuse to see at all is not to live. It is merely to exist half asleep. I tell you, it is far, far better to see and occasionally stumble than to perpetually sleep and dream forever. The universe itself yearns to wake up and perceive through you. It whispers patiently in your intuition, it sings joyfully in your laughter, and it cleanses tenderly in your tears. Remember who you truly are, and when you finally remember, you'll discover that you were never truly separate, never actually lost. You were the magnificent dreamer all along. So let us circle back to where we began. Have you ever noticed something so glaringly obvious that everyone else somehow missed it? Have you ever felt like you were wide awake in a crowded room full of deep dreamers? If your answer is yes, then know this profound truth: you are not broken, you are not cursed, and you are most certainly not alone. You are simply seeing a little further, a little deeper than most others right now. Carry this precious vision gently, laugh genuinely and often. Play the game of life with all your heart, but never, ever take it too seriously. And when you inevitably feel the temporary weight of isolation, always remember that the entire universe itself is quietly, lovingly with you. For the one who truly sees what others cannot is the very one through whom the vast universe begins to wake up and beautifully see itself.